Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. We are back again, and what a season we have had of IPL. 74 long games, and finally we have had a winner. It is the Gujarat Titans, the team which impressed everybody in the league stage. They finished the table with scoring 20 points, and ultimately they've gone on to win the IPL as well. Sandipani, what a fairy tale of a season for Gujarat Titans because we expected them to do well at this, at the middle of the IPL, but then they've gone on to win it. My goodness, tell me something about it.
Yeah, I mean they sort of had a fairy tale going for them. Very rightly pointed out. I think they pulled out a Rajasthan Royals from 2008 when at the start probably nobody expected them to go on to win the season, especially given their batting lineup. If you talk about it, that like Rahul Tewatia is coming in at number six in a team, you probably feel that they are probably one or maybe two batsmen short. But how they have turned the things around, it's spectacular, really. Because Rahul Tewatia had a brilliant season, Rashid Khan had a brilliant season with the bat, also with the ball, and definitely David Miller and Hardik Pandya averaging some. David Miller averaged, I think, at the end of this tournament, he averaged over 68. Scored 481 runs this season. Even Hardik Pandya had a very good season, averaged close to 40 to 43. Um, and when you think about it, Rajasthan Royals had both the orange cap and purple cap holders, and I think this is the third time around uh, where a team has both the orange cap as well as purple cap holder, and
Let me
still
read it out for
they
the
have
viewers.
managed to win
Yeah,
the tournament.
let me just read that out for the viewers. In 2013, Michael and Bravo were the orange cap and purple cap holders. They lost in the final was the Mumbai Indians. In 2017, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Warner were the orange cap and purple cap holders. They got knocked out by Kolkata Knight Riders in the playoffs. And Butler and Chahal, and they both end up losing the final as well. And Gujarat Titans, who had three of the players in the top six of their orange cap list, have won the IPL. Reading out, Hardik Pandya scored 487 runs at a strike rate of 133. Shubman Gill scored 483 runs at a strike rate of 135. And David Miller, 481 runs at 141. Oh, these
That
three
just
lads
shows you
have
that
been so
consistency depends on like the amount of players who are coming to form, not just one or two individuals just taking their team home. You can't be over dependent on players. Like we saw for Lucknow Super Giants, they were heavily dependent on their top three: KL Rahul, Quinton de Kock, Deepak Huda. Somebody like Rajasthan Royals was heavily dependent on Butler, even though they showed some good positive signs coming into the qualifiers. Because they won two or three games where Butler was consistently failing in the later half of that playoff stage, league stage. But still, having said that, it just shows that what a team can do. I think Gujarat Titans had five of their players scoring over 300 runs this season. So I think that is a
absolutely.
major. That just shows you that on a given day, they are not depending on any particular player. Two or three players are coming together, stepping up, and winning the game for them.
I mean, if you look at this tournament, they've had various man of the matches in different situations, right? You saw Teotia coming in and doing it for them. You saw you saw David Miller doing it. So
Yeah.
Hardik Pandya. I think this was a revelation of a season for Hardik Pandya, the player. More than I loved his captaincy. We all loved his captaincy. Let's keep his
Yeah.
captaincy aside. But as a player, taking up responsibility, coming in at number three, coming and opening the bowling today, picked up three wickets, three crucial wickets, which possibly won them the game. And I think he's been the MVP for me for the tournament. People might argue about the strike rate, whatever it is. He showed how it is like to lead from the front, taking up the responsibility, paving the way for the others to follow him. And because of that, other players are getting motivated. Other players, our captain is doing it. Why can't we do it?
I think that is a very valid point. Hardik Pandya is one of the MVPs of this tournament, probably one of crucial nominations. I think he will probably get it as well. But having said that, I think Hardik Pandya's captaincy take nothing away from Sanju Samson. I think one player that has really impressed me this season has been Sanju Samson's captaincy. Because coming into this season, we saw that Sanju Samson did not have quite the right team to sort of go on. He has been very cool throughout the season. I think it just did not turn out to be a very good game for him tonight. But other than that, I think throughout this tournament he has had a brilliant season as a captain and as a player as well. As a player, I think he averaged close to 30. But especially as a captain, he has been spectacular. Because if you think about it, Gujarat Titans, they have tried out some new options like Darshan Nalkande, Yash Dayal, Pradeep Sangwan. But if you talk about Rajasthan Royals, the only concern for them has been they have just gone with the five bowlers throughout. They have trusted their five bowlers to do the job for them, and that is when a captain's role becomes that more important, because you have to use those five bowlers very wisely to sort of like, you don't have any backup option. You don't really consider somebody like a Riyan Parag as your backup option. Even a Yashasvi Jaiswal, he hasn't bowled too much in IPL, even in the previous seasons as well. So you just have those five bowlers and you have to rotate them around. And I think that is where Sanju Samson has been brilliant, understood the different facets of the game. Uh, and even Hardik Pandya, I think these two have been like the most instructive, like the best captains of the season. Also the management. Talk about Ashish Nehra and Gary Kirsten. I mean, you have a winning combination right there. And Vikram Solanki. Don't forget Vikram Solanki. Vikram Solanki has played a very crucial role in sort of getting through the players. I think they understood the pulse of the players really well. They utilized whatever options they had, and I think with this option, like with the players that they had, they sort of turned it around really well.
I know this question because we've spoken over the years about how it is to have a team management, right? Right now you mentioned about Gary Kirsten, Ashish Nehra, Vikram Solanki. Let's speak about Ashish Nehra, Gary Kirsten, because they were part of that RCB team who had a disaster of a season in 2018. There were a lot of flack at them for the tactical calls what they made, the kind of decisions they made on the field. This is kind of a redemption for them. Gary Kirsten is a decorated coach. We've seen it. We've seen him with India. We've seen him with South Africa, and he was also as a prospective candidate for the English Test cricket job as well. But now redeeming himself in IPL because he had a very bad track record in IPL. Because with Delhi Daredevils also, his team was knocked out in the group stage. With RCB, his team was knocked out in the group stage. And Ashish Nehra, there was a lot of flack on his tactical calls as a bowler. But this team just felt like a family, a very happy atmosphere. Ashish Nehra is very chilled. Gary Kirsten, one of the chill coaches. And with Hardik Pandya into that foe, looks like a proper coaching staff, isn't it?
I think, having said that, I think you have to understand that they did not have the right type of players in the season where they did not do well with RCB, because you if you talk about the management side of it, you need to have players who, like youngsters whom you can back. And I think RCB had a more solid setup going into their campaign. They had somebody like a Chris Gale. Back in 2017, they had somebody like a Chris Gale, Virat Kohli, AV de Villiers. They were the crux of the team. They had a strong batting lineup. They did not have too many options if you talk about the bowlers. But this time around, they have sort of built a team from scratch. They exactly knew what sort of players they needed. We actually did not trust their selection very much right at the start, because if you think about at the start, they we at least I felt that Gujarat Titans were going too heavy with the ball. I mean, who would have thought that somebody like a Rahul Tewatia, having played as a, you can say almost like a bowling all rounder. You can almost say he has played like a bowler in the past few seasons for Rajasthan Royals. Coming this time around, you just use him as a batsman. Rahul Tewatia, the batsman. He has not played as a bowling all rounder, nothing. He has played as a proper batsman. I think he just bowled 6-7 overs this season. He has gone for plenty, but that is where Ashish Nehra, I think the team management sort of came good for them. They realized what are exactly the roles for the different players, and somebody like a Rahul Tewatia was utilized really well. Not just Rahul Tewatia, somebody like a Yash Dayal, somebody like a Pradeep Sangwan coming in playing after such a long time, playing in IPL after such a long time. Somebody like a Darshan Nalkande getting introduced to IPL. Sai Kishore has been a phenomenon, and we were predicting it. We were always sort of expecting somebody like a Sai Kishore to do really well. And today, the way Hardik Pandya used him, I think he just used Sai Kishore as a six bowling option, because he bowled really well. Hardik Pandya talk about the big games, and he has stepped up really well. I think Hardik Pandya has not lost any finals yet,
Yeah, he hasn't
and
lost
he
any final.
continued to
It's his
maintain his
fifth
track record.
IPL trophy. He's played in the 2015 final. He's played in the 2017 final, 2019, 2020, and 2022 as the captain of a new franchise. You could say in all these years he was shadowed down by Mumbai Indians, but I felt Mumbai Indians gave him that platform. I think Hardik Pandya also will be always indebted to that franchise for making him the player he is today. But I think Mumbai Indians have let go of a gem of a player. He looks like a leader now to take over not just IPL cricket but also the world cricket. I see a leader in him with that ability to lead from the front. Now we speak of Ben Stokes as a leader, right? I see the same characteristics in him. He wants to go up front, change the game. We already did speak about it, but then leadership qualities, being calm under pressure, being not reactive but being more tactically astute. Because we one of the issues we have with IPL captains and the kind of criticism we have is they are reactive as captains. They do not stay under they do not stay calm under pressure. Temperamentally they are tested. But Hardik Pandya temperamentally was absolutely astounding, because I have seen captains over the years in IPL who have become really, really shuttered down by the pressure which comes with IPL, and also now leading a new franchise. If he was leading a franchise like a Mumbai Indians, it would have been easier for him because there is that environment, there is players who he knows. But creating an environment, leading a franchise, taking them to the next level, that really needs mental resolve. That really needs that capability to be there, guiding them. Always have to take care of them. I have to take care of each and every player, because as a captain, your job is not only with the players whom you play with, but also with the players who you don't play with, because every franchise have got 25 players, and him creating the atmosphere of making sure all the 25 players are on the same page. You have to give credit to Hardik Pandya, the player, and also the captain. And that's what I feel this IPL has just transformed his career into Hardik Pandya 2.0, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think coming back from a long hiatus, this is the sort of performance that we expected Hardik Pandya, that we expected from Hardik Pandya, and he has showed up. He has led from the front. It has been Gujarat Titans season because the captain has led from the front. If you think about it, in the first few games, he was coming in at number four, coming in at number three. Whenever the team needed him, bowling his quota of 4 overs, getting those 40s, 50s in every game. I think he just set up the tone, and he has been very calm under pressure. If you talk about it, and not just him, I think all the batting unit especially has been very calm under pressure, because they had a lot of sort of sometimes the run rate that was required from them, 70, 80 needed of the last 5, 6 overs with the lower middle order at the crease. I think they have pulled off some miraculous run chases, and it has only been possible because they have such a stable. So they have, like, Ashish Nehra, Gary Custon, Vikram Solanki, they have sort of built a team from scratch. So they exactly knew what they were getting, what they needed, what sort of balance they needed, and I think that is where they struck the fine balance. Even somebody like a Lucknow Super Giants, they were creating a team right from scratch. The other teams, they were also sort of creating it from scratch, but they had 3 or 4 players that they were keeping it for them. So they had a
I
particular
felt
brand of
that
cricket going
draft
forward.
picks were just on point, right? The draft picks like Hardik Pandya,
Yeah, the draft
Rashid
picks
Khan,
were
because Rashid
right on
Khan
point.
is the I don't think you can put any value to that guy in T20 cricket. He is an absolute superstar of T20 cricket. Because I remember in 2008, Shane Warne called Ravindra Jadeja a superstar, but for me, right now, the superstar, the rocking star, whatever you call him, it is Rashid Khan. He is an invaluable asset in any T20 team which takes field right now in world cricket. Let it be BBL, let it be Afghanistan, let it be whichever team he plays around the world, right? The value
Yeah,
he brings into every team is just invaluable. You cannot measure it. And he was vice captain of this very team as well, alongside Hardik Pandya. And he was just, whenever you wanted him to bat, score those quick runs, he did score that. Whenever you wanted him to pick up wickets, he did do that. And the draft pick of just having Rashid Khan for 15 crores is an absolute steal. Rashid Khan is worth 20 crores maybe. He's having him for 15 crores, having him that position where you can win games. In today you saw, today was
yeah,
one of the key examples of how T20 cricket can be won by just putting breaks on, and Rashid Khan did that beautifully. He just spun a web around them, making sure that RR did not get that lift off, and that's why I feel Rashid Khan's pick was just amazing. Alongside that, you have found another youngster, Shubman Gill, who you've got maybe 10 years of future with. People can say that he did not come good as one expected. He came good in patches, but then even today, he did have his luck, but then he showed his resolve under pressure as to how he can guide a team home. And I bet this knock is going to give him a lot of confidence going ahead in T20 cricket, because we talk about certain knocks in T20 cricket, right? Which will give you a lot of confidence going ahead. I think this is going to be a defining knock. When you look back at the scorecard in years time, you'll be like, he just scored 40 odd. What is big about it? But then that pressure which was created by RR was just sufficed down by Shubman Gill, the batter today. And he made sure that he held one end up so Hardik Pandya and David Miller could play the shots, and they did beautifully as well. What do you make of their picks? Because let's speak about that in brief before we talk about RR.
Yeah, I think Shubman Gill played a very important knock tonight, because if you think about it, I think I'll value his knock over some like somebody like a Hardik Pandya's knock or David Miller's knock tonight, because at that stage, if he would have got out in the power play along with somebody like Riddhiman Shah and Matthew Wade, I think two batters coming in right after the power play with the pressure of the run rate creeping in, I think it would have been very difficult for Gujarat Titans to pull this through. I think RR would have pulled out a sort of a rabbit from the hat if Shubman Gill would have been dismissed at that time. That having said that, I think for a youngster to show such composure that he did not throw his wicket away. Obviously, they sort of got him into a trap. Trent Bolt sort of set up a field for him and got him to play that shot, and Yuzvendra Chahal will be kicking himself. I mean, to drop that catch in a final, it's just a like you deserve to lose if you drop catches like that in a final, especially defending a small total like 130. And you have to know that they have like Gujarat Titans have limited players who can play this sort of anchor sort of a role, because you will not expect somebody like a David Miller to come in and play a 30 ball 40 kind of a knock. He if he plays for 30 balls, he'll give you 55 60 runs. But somebody like a Shubman Gill, he will come in, he will play that anchor's role, hold one end of the crease. So I think his wicket was very important in this 131 run chase. Especially if you have to defend 131, you have to go hard at it. And they sort of set the trap. They had him in, but it was just one of those days where Chahal dropped a sitter, and it's not for like you cannot forgive that, and rightly so he was punished.
Absolutely. I mean, do you reckon that could have possibly turned the match? Because in my opinion, yes, it possibly could have. Three down for 30 odd in a
Yeah.
final would have been having negative pressure on GT, isn't it?
And having known that, you just have Rahul Tewatia, Rashid Khan, and the bowlers to follow. So
Absolutely.
and see, Rashid Khan, Rahul Tewatia, they sort of excel when there is a scoreboard pressure on them. Like if you need 10, 12 runs per over in the last 5, 6 overs, I think that is where Rahul Tewatia, Rashid Khan are at their best. You don't expect them to sort of build the innings and play the anchor's role and then go for it at the end. I think that is more of Shubman Gill's, Riddhiman Shah, and somebody like Hardik Pandya's job in the team to sort of hold one end and let the others go for the shots. And since
Absolutely.
Hardik Pandya and Shubman Gill were playing, I think Shubman Gill decided to be the aggressor, and rightly so. He took a lot of pressure out in that first Ashwin over. I think Sanju Samson just got it a bit wrong. I think Ashwin could have been introduced to the attack a bit earlier, and Chahal could have been held back. I think that is where they sort of missed the trick.
Sandipani, do you know Gujarati so that you can
No,
say
no,
one of
no.
those
The only
words?
Gujarati I know is Awad. I have no other idea.
Yeah, I just know Ahmedabad Prem Karuchu. So I think Gujarati mein, I just can't. I'm not good with the language. But then I Avade is something which I can shout loud. Avade Gujarat Titans because you have
Yeah.
absolutely lit up this IPL and
Just
you
lost
are
the
gonna
four
go into
games
that
in
folklore
16.
as one of the
Have a
greatest teams.
75% win record. Gujarat Titans this season.
They've
Phenomenal.
had the best season, one of the best season. I know Mumbai Indians of 2020 had a dominating season,
Yeah.
but this has to be right up there. Uh,
Yeah.
I've
And one
seen
might
some of the
argue
great
that the
players.
four games that they lost, they had no pressure on them. Like they had zero pressure. They sort of experimented a lot and lost two of those games. I think if they would have stuck to the same element, same team, I think they would have. Who knows? They would have lost just the two or three games this season.
Yeah, truly. I mean, I totally think that this team just showed what it is like to play as a team more than not having any big names. Because we've seen over the years you invest so much on big names, right? But they don't win you the IPL. But it's just about playing as a team. When you play as a team, you can create some special memories. And Gujarat Titan did it better than anybody. I think even if you talk about Mumbai and Chennai Super Kings, you always had those big names. You had players who are match winners on their own day. David Miller, who was a discarded IPL player. Shubman Gill, one of the most criticized IPL player. Hardik Pandya, one of the most criticized player in the recent times. Just Rashid Khan is one player who I can pick out of that list. Mohammad Shami, people don't rate him as a T20 bowler. Uh, Lockie Ferguson, one of the most expensive players. Rahul Tewatia, people call him the one season wonder. But boy, if you look back, my goodness, what have they even done? Vridhiman Saha, he's coming off a big controversy as well. So They've just turned up today and just turned up to this season, and they've been like, see, we will play as a team, we will play having each other's back, and they've created something very special.
I think all the players have done their role perfectly, have filled in their role perfectly. They knew exactly what was asked of them. They knew that somebody like a Rahul Tewatia will not come in the fourth, like in within the power play, not experiment much. He'll come in at the back end when the team is sort of having lost 4 wickets. He'll come in that lower middle order. He'll go for it. Like when the net run rate is high, and the job was perfectly described to them. They did not expect Rahul Tewati to come in and bowl those 4 overs, 3 overs, 2 overs. It was not given him. Like he was not burdened with the role of having to bowl. I think that is where I think they sort of uh, assigned perfect roles to different players, and all of them chipped in and had a great season individually. I think Shubman Gill had a great season individually. Riddhiman Saha had a great season individually. All of these players had a very good season individually. Not the best, but a good enough season. And all these
I
players
mean, that's
combined, they
all you
have
need
this
to win
team.
an IPL season. If you have three of your batsmen scoring more than 450 plus runs in an IPL season, you go on to
Yeah,
win more often than not. And that's exactly what happened this time around. And they had a couple of bowlers who always chipped in with wickets. Let it be Rashid Khan, let it be Mohammad Shami, let it be Hardik Pandya as a bowler. So they have created that, that unit, that juggernaut of a unit who could turn over some champion sides on their bloody day. And that's exactly what happened. And that first game against Lucknow Super Giants just set the tempo for them. From there on, it was just a top flight for them. I would say that game against Punjab, where Rahul Tewatia smoked those two sixes to win them the title, not win them the title, sorry, win them that game. Now, of course, they
yeah,
won the title. Rahul Tewatia will be remembered for that as well. So they had created these special moments in their journey. Rashid Khan's spell against Punjab. Let it be. What comes to my mind is Shubman Gill's one of the knocks against Delhi Capitals. Hardik
yeah.
Pandya's knocking against the Rajasthan Royals. So they've had these moments where they all celebrated together, and I thought the turning point would have been when David Miller came into form against Chennai Super Kings, and also Rashid Khan helping them. That for me, all of a sudden, just woke me up and be like, whoa, this team has got individual match winners. They're having different match winners. Rashid Khan scoring 40 of 19 balls. I've never seen it ever. I've never ever seen it. And in an IPL tournament like that, I was like, okay, if this guy can do it, possibly they've got more match winners. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, definitely. I think having said that, they have pulled off some improbable run chases. They have had some improbable wins, defending 150s, 160s more often than not. They have turned up as a complete side, and no matter where you put them, you ask them to chase, they are coming in chasing the total, whatever is put on the board. You ask them to defend a small score, they have done it against certain teams. Just from 2009, I think one of the most successfully defended lowest scores were from them. They defended 150, 140 against KKR, against I think against Punjab also they defended a very small total. I think they have been really good, like entirely. The entire team has done well entirely. And if we talk about the youngsters, Sai Kishore coming in, bowling in those economical spells, picking up important wickets. Somebody like Yash Dayal coming in, bowling in, playing his first, I think, the biggest game of his life, coming in, picking up the first wicket, especially when Yashasvi Jaiswal was just starting to get his groove, picking up his wicket, sort of set up the momentum, set up the tempo for the game. And I think that is where Gujarat Titans have been so good. They exactly know what is required of them. When like if, every time they are in a spot of bother, one of the players has come in from behind and sort of taken the team out of such situations and won the game for the team. So it has
Absolutely.
been a complete team effort, and I think this has been a sort of a 2008 Rajasthan Royals sort
I
of
mean,
a
I
campaign
think
for them.
2008 was great for Arsenal, but I think that's bigger than that. This has to be bigger than that
Yeah,
because
definitely, because they have been dominant. Rajasthan
yeah,
Royals were not really dominant in the
you
2008
are
season.
talking about a franchise who was inducted newly into an IPL. So they are
Yeah,
total newbies. There, back then, everyone were newbies. Nobody knew what this tournament is all about. Nobody knew how to play this format, to be very honest.
yeah,
But now you're 14 years into this tournament. It's the 15th year. You're coming into a tournament which has got giants of the game, which has got gigantic teams like Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings, Royal Challengers Bangalore, Kolkata Knight Riders. But triumphing over all of these teams to win an IPL title is much bigger than 2008, I
yeah.
feel.
And especially because they have been so consistent. Mohammad Shami have been consistent throughout the season, barring a few games where he have gone for a few runs. Mohammad Shami has picked up 19 wickets this season. So has Rashid Khan. I think these two have been the backbone of their bowling performance. And somebody like a Sai Kishore, Yash Dayal, on his days Pradeep Sangwan, Hardik Pandya, Darshan Narkande, they have come in, chipped in for them. Somebody like Loki Ferguson and Alzari Joseph has had their days, and Lockie Ferguson today bowled the fastest delivery. I mean, of this
Yeah,
tournament. I think especially because he had some rage in him. He knew that his place was like he was dropped from the team in place of somebody like Alzari Joseph. So he had some bragging rights to prove, and he just showed us that. And I think next year, I think this pitch is going to help Lockie Ferguson a lot because there is
yeah,
proper bounce in this pitch, and this is going to be their home ground from next season if nothing unforeseen happens. So I think everything looks bright for them. Having said that, this has been a fairy tale of a campaign. You have to make uh, a few changes, strengthen your batting a bit, and just look into your the external bowling options. Other than that, I think Gujarat Titans will be very happy to play the same team next season as well. I think they will opt for the same team for the next season, for the at least the opener for of the next season. But I think these are the few changes that they can have. They will look to have in the future, because you won't have Rashid Khan and Rahul Tewatia pulling off 31 runs of 2 overs in every season. So I think that is where they have to work hard a bit. Other than that, it has been a fairy tale of a campaign. Deserved winners, dominant season for Gujarat Titans. That's it. I'm sorry, I think you're muted.
sorry, sorry. So let's talk about Rajasthan Royals, right? They came to an IPL final after 14 long years. Everybody thought they're going to win it for the first Royal ever. Shane won. This is the first final after his passing away. And of course, there was an emotional ride for them as well as a team. Josh Butler was magnificent with the bat. You have to give it to him. 800 plus runs in an IPL season. You feel bad for Virat Kohli in 2016, but you got to feel bad for Josh Butler as well because they both came up against two strong bowling attacks on their respective days, and that's exactly what happened. Sunrisers Hyderabad in 2016 and Gujarat Titans in 2022. 6 years apart, both had Royals in their name and just
Yeah,
capitulating badly. Both had Chahal also in their team. So you have some, I'm just picking out some,
yeah,
similarities in their campaign and their run. And Chahal was the leading wicket taker for RCB back then. And for Rajasthan Royals, it was Chahal again. But let's talk about Rajasthan Royals' campaign as a team. They would take a lot of heart. They'll take a lot of pride in the way in which they played. They had a terrific auction. We all did appreciate about their auction and their strategies because they were spot on with their buys. They got Ashwin and Chahal for 11 crore. I think that was the biggest steal ever in IPL history. And talking about Ashwin's capability as an all-rounder, they discovered that Hetmeyer's finishing skills. Sanju Samson's captaincy was a big, big up for them. I think this is a. I think he's going to be a captain who will be remembered for a long time because he showed it even
yeah.
in the final. I know he was defending 129, but he took the game to the end. I mean, I thought he fought really hard as a captain. He showed really big heart to make some tactically important calls, make some aggressive decisions, which really paid off as well in some instances. And all in all, they will be very happy, isn't it?
Yeah, as I said, that Rajasthan Royals have been playing with just the five bowlers throughout the season. They had Ashwin coming in at number seven. Probably in one or two or three games, Jimmy Nisham got a go, and there was Mitchell in taken two or three of the games, but he was not used too much with the ball. With the ball, it has been Trent Bolt, Prasidh Krishna, Yuzvendra Chahal, Ravichandran Ashwin, and the fifth bowling option has majorly been filled by Obed McCoy and Kuldeep Sen. I think both of them have done a tremendous job as the fifth bowling option. They had tried somebody like a Navdeep Saini early on, and they had a lot of permutations, combinations going, which clearly did not work for them. The fifth bowler was getting hammered for a lot of runs, and then they brought in somebody like a Kuldeep Sen, who has been phenomenal, who has been a phenomenal find this season. And then there was Obed McCoy coming back from injury with a lot to prove, and I think he has proved quite a lot, especially in that qualified two game against RCB. He was magnificent. And even in some of the games he was handed the ball in the last over. It's very difficult coming out from an injury to bowl the final over of a game in pressure situations, and I think he has done a spectacular job all in all. And the four bowlers, the consistency of the four bowlers, the fitness level of the four bowlers, Chahal, Bolt, Prasidh Krishna, Ashwin. Ashwin especially because he has done like superbly with the bat as well. So these four have been the key points, like the key highlights of Rajasthan Royals. Apart from somebody like a Josh Butler and Sanju Samson, because they have held the team together. They have bowled 16 overs in majority of the games. I mean, think 15 of the 17 games or 16 of the 17 games. These are the four bowlers that have bowled their quota of 4 overs, all their quota of
Yeah.
4 overs. Chahal has bowled
Yeah.
his quota of 4 overs in all the 17 games. So has somebody like a Prasidh Krishna. So I I, I
Absolutely.
think it's a brilliant job that Sanju Samson did because he rotated around those bowlers. I think they'll have a lot of positive take from this season. Rajasthan Royals, Lucknow Super Giants, Royal Challengers Bangalore. These are the three teams I feel had the best of auctions and were
I
one of
think
the
if you just look at these teams as well, next year when they come back, if you ask them, would you want to make any change? They would say no.
no.
What would you really want to change? Because they all had it in them to win the championship. It did not happen is a different question altogether. Because
Yeah.
on, if you talk about Royal Challengers Bangalore, they'll feel Butler played one of the best knocks ever in IPL history to take them home, and that was one of the best hundreds I've seen in a playoff. I've seen Shane Watson, I've seen Murali Vijay, but that was that just destroyed Royal Challengers Bangalore out of the game. Just to play with that kind of audacity, that was just brilliant from Josh Butler. 400s in a season, you'll have to put him right on par with Virat Kohli as well.
Yeah,
But
especially in a knockout game, if you bat first and sort of score that 150 160 in the range of 150 160, you are in the game. You are definitely in the game because there is a lot of pressure coming in when the batsman is coming into bat in the second innings, and if you can put that pressure early on, pick up a couple of wickets early on, you never know. As that is exactly why I felt that Rajasthan Royals missed a trick tonight. They had a good start. They were at 60 for one at the end of 7 overs. I feel 7 8 overs when Hardik Pandya came into bowl. Once Sanju Samson was dismissed, I think Padikkal came in, and then there were no singles coming. They were just playing a lot of dot balls, and I think that is where the pressure built on them, and they were never really able to get out of it. So I feel
absolutely,
150 160 on this pitch, and this things would have been completely different, especially because Prasidh Krishna and Bolt, two of the I think top five wicket takers in the power play this season. Uh, those two coming in and bowling those that fiery opening spell, it would have been very difficult for Gujarat Titans to get the momentum going.
right. I mean, you have to say that on this day, it just did not happen. And Rajasthan Royals as a team, they look back and be like, okay, it just happened on a particular day, but then they would not want to change anything unless there's injuries. They'd want to bring the same team with the same mojo next season, even better. Maybe they would want to go one step ahead. It's never easy after playing a final to.
They'll have to find a player who can dismiss Hardik Pandya and David Miller. This was the
But
first
today
time
they
Hardik
found a
Pandya
player.
was
Today
dismissed
they
against
did
them.
find a player, but then next season I
Yeah, but
believe they.
Miller, talk about Miller. Miller just single-handedly took the game away from them in the qualifiers.
I think one position they'll be slightly concerned about is that Matthew Wade's position. I think next season they'll be no, sorry, that Matthew Wade plays for Gujarat Titans. Sorry, what am I saying?
That
I think
middle
one
order,
position
that
they'll be
middle order
slightly
position.
concerned is a Riyan Parak's position, because that position has been one area. Riyan Parak has done exceedingly well as a fielder, but as a batter and as a bowler, he has not yet delivered so much for them. And also, Devdutt Padikkal, they would want to use him in a better and optimize. They would want to optimize more out of him, because if you look, he's not been optimized full to his full of capability. Because he's not a batter who comes in at number four. He did well in few of the instances where he went out and played knocks at 148 strike rate, and you will give it to him for that, because it's a position he's never probably batted in his whole career. Now he's batting in an IPL tournament like that under pressure against some quality bowling attacks, so you give him credit for that. But maybe those are few areas they would really want to explore more on the mini auction in. But other than that, they've almost got all the bases covered. They wouldn't want to change even a single thing about Chehel, Ashwin, uh, Prasidh Krishna, Bolt, Obin Mukherjee, for example, has been a huge, huge find for them. If they're playing in Jaipur, that with that big boundaries, I think this team is a team to beat. I mean, they were the team to beat even this season, but
Yeah.
next season they're only going to be even stronger because they might make that into an absolute fort. That'll be a Jaipur fort, which is going to be tough to breach for many teams. We've
Yeah.
seen it in the past when they've had good spinners in Jaipur with the likes of Shreyas Gopal, Krishnappa Gautam. It was a tough fort to
Praveen
breach because
Tambe.
they were very consistent. I remember in 2013 when they had the 100% record in Jaipur, when they went on to do well then they went on to play the playoffs. That was one of the seasons because they had a good spinner even then. I remember
It
Siddharth
was
Trivedi
Praveen
used to
Tambe.
run in and
Praveen
ball.
Tambe. They had Praveen Tambe in the middle order,
That
like middle
Praveen
order.
Tambe in the middle overs. Now they have Yuzvendra Chahal, who is a champion. I think he's a bigger spinner than many of the spinners who have played IPL. So, and with Ashwin also with the bigger boundaries, I think he's going to be even more potent. But batters will be the only issue. But if you have Butler who's going to score like this, you don't need, man. I mean, this team is going to
But
be very tough
you
to
are
beat.
not going to have Butler, like more likely than not, Butler is not going to have another 800 plus season the next time around. So they
But
will have
I
to
think
strengthen their
he's
batting.
already set the expectation. You've seen that with Virat Kohli because every time he doesn't score 900 runs in IPL, you're like, it's a failure. So
Yeah.
I think if Butler doesn't score anything close to 800, you'll be like, it's a failure of a season. So
No,
that's a
but
benchmark he has
definitely
set.
they'll have to look beyond Butler. I don't mean beyond in the sense just drop Butler, but they'll have to look for somebody to come good for them when Butler is not scoring runs for them. Because we saw that this had been a issue, had been an issue for them in the later half of the league stage when Butler was not really getting runs. They in the early parts they had somebody like a Padikkal opening. There was no Jaswal in the team, and they were really struggling to fill in that middle order. And they are heavily, if you ask me, they are heavily dependent on two of their top six to go really well for them. Somebody like a Sanju Samson and a Butler has to go big for Rajasthan Royals to come good. This has been the perception for them. If the bowlers are not performing exceedingly well, because this time around we also had Shimran Hetmeyer, who had a brilliant season with the bat. He has had brilliant seasons with the bat for Delhi Capitals, but even for Rajasthan Royals, he has done a spectacular job coming in at number 5, number 6, scoring those crucial 30, 20 run knocks in the death. And especially those 10, 15 runs right at the end eventually turn out to be the difference between the two sides. So Shimran Hetmeyer, Butler, Sanju Samson, these three are doing really well. Jaswal at the top, I think, is a better sort of player at the top than Padikkal. Speaking completely about the form, because that is the sort of player that they need. Because we have seen that Butler can go like take the attack on the bowler right from ball one, but we have seen that in the last few games, Butler likes to sort of get in to understand the pitch, take 20 to 25 balls to settle in, and then go for it. I think Jaiswal has an aggressive intent, aggressive game, a more aggressive game than Padikkal, so he can just come in and go after the bowling, and
I
that
mean,
is where
I
I don't
think
think Devdutt Padikkal is
when
a
it
number
comes to
4 player.
Butler, I think when it comes to Butler, you need one opener who can possibly support him, play that supporting role. You don't need to be that aggressor. You could be an anchor as well who can possibly
Yeah,
support
but
him
with the runs
and give
that
that
Butler
space
was
for
scoring
Butler.
in the later half, yeah, but with the runs that Butler was scoring in the later half, I think the responsibility of playing the anchor's role at the start was given to Butler. They were sort of asking Butler to not go for it right from ball one, sort of take some time to get
But
in.
you know what? That has happened with Butler. When you make Butler play that kind of role, you don't get anything out of him. You need Butler to play like how he played against Royal Challengers Bangalore, go berserk. And that's the impact he brings. And that's how he has won games for Rajasthan Royals through the course of this tournament. And even today, I thought they should have unleashed him. I know in finals you want to be a little conservative. You've seen it with all the teams across all the sports. You are conservative in the finals because you don't play your best cricket in the final. I've not seen any team in the world play the best cricket in the final because you play your best cricket maybe a game before the final or maybe leading up to the final you play your best cricket because in the final every team are conservative. You don't tell me that no team goes into that final with absolute no nerves at all. You want to boss around, you want to play, but then you don't play your best cricket. If you ask any captain, if you ask Hardik Pandya, did you play your best cricket today? He will say definitely no. We played our best cricket possibly in the qualifier number one. We played our best cricket in that league stage of the tournament. So that's what happens. I think with Butler, I thought they should have unleashed him. What would have happened? I mean, they would have scored maybe 30 runs extra, and that would have possibly been a game today. 20 runs was the game today. The pressure was the 20 runs. If they had the 20 runs, the buffer of 20 runs, they could have possibly applied more pressure. Scoreboard pressure of a 150 is so much more different when it comes to 130. Psychologically, it plays a lot. And if you're talking about one of the lowest scores defended, we can say that Mumbai Indians did defend 129 in Pune against Pune in Hyderabad in 2017. But that pitch was a very slow pitch, and I had only Pune to blame that particular day. I thought someone like a Dan Christian with Manoj Tiwari, these lads should have finished it off, but they did not. And of course, that's what they had to pay. They could have been one of those new franchises to have won that IPL title as well. But it is at the crescendo has been handed over to Gujarat Titans because they totally deserve it. They are the final champions at the end of the day, and you have to agree to it. But let's talk about now one player we all felt was so underrated through the course of this tournament, right? I thought it was Shimran Hetmeyer because the impact he brought into this Rajasthan Royals team has been massive. Though he did not turn up to be his best today, and since he took that break, when he went back to Guyana for the birth of his first child, since he has come back, he's not been able to perform at his level best. That's something which has to do with the momentum and the continuity factor you have. Then you have quarantine, then coming back, the flow really goes off. But then whenever Rajasthan Royals needed him through the course of this tournament, he has been absolute gem, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Hetmeyer has had one of the best seasons. If you bar that Delhi Capitals one, playing for Delhi Capitals two, he has had two of the most, I think, dominant finishers role. He has played a dominant finishers role for Delhi Capitals in the last two seasons. I think Rajasthan Royals brought him in. They expected something similar from him, and they got it. Because if you think about Rajasthan Royals middle order, they have somebody like Devdutt Padikkal coming in at number four. Uh, Shimran Hetmeyer usually comes in at number five, but if you consider other options, there is Riyan Parag, Ashwin, Devdutt Padikkal. You don't really consider them to like be the massive finishers in a game. Yeah, they were trying to build Riyan Parag as a finisher, but we have seen time and again that Riyan Parag does not do really well when he comes in after the 16th, 17th over. It's just he performs in one of say 6 or 7 games. So it's better than that. You can utilize somebody like a Riyan Parag at the top of the order at number four or number five, rather than using him at number six, number seven, not utilizing him. And that is where Shimran Hetmeyer becomes so important for the team. Because once Josh Butler or say a Sanju Samson fails, there is no other explosive hitter in the team other than Shimran Hetmeyer. You don't really have an option if you consider Rajasthan Royals, because uh, Devdutt Padikkal has not been the best finishers in the game, even in for Royal Challengers Bangalore. So Devdutt Padikkal is not really a finisher. Neither is Riyan Parag, nor is Ravichandran Ashwin. Neither the tailenders that follow, and hence Shimran Hetmeyer plays a very important role for Rajasthan Royals, and he did come good for the side this season. It will be interesting to see what he does when all the other players are not performing around him. Probably it may be happen in the next season. So you have to, for Rajasthan Royals, they have to strengthen their batting. Same with Gujarat Titans. I think the only changes that these teams can make is strengthen their batting. Their bowling has been the strongest suit out of the two, and the only thing that they can change or sort of rebuild, or not just rebuild, sort of manipulate a bit and rejive a bit, is their batting order.
Absolutely. I mean, you will have to give it to them now that they have reached the final. They would really want to just come back into next season with a lot of hopes. And mini auction plays a big part in building these teams for the coming seasons as well. And that's where I will give credit to a lot of management through the course of this IPL. Lucknow, RCV, Rajasthan, Gujarat. Gujarat especially, though they might have not done the best of purchases, but they made a team. I think for them it was all about creating their team. But yeah, as we know, the emerging player has been handed over to Umran Malik. Tell me something about it. Let's talk about him because as we are also having the live stream on, we are doing a watch along of the presentation ceremony at this very point. What do you make of Umran Malik, the player? Because we have to talk about him as he's been given the emerging player award, and we've seen often in the previous years, emerging player is that one player who lights up the IPL, and he's lit up the IPL in a big way, right? As an Indian fast bowler to go out there, ball 157, Though sadly his record was broken today by Lockie Ferguson, he would be devastated for that
Mm.
because he thought he just had it. And in the last moment, I never expected Lockie to run in and ball 157, and he
Oh,
just
it's
did
great.
that with
Yeah.
so much of ease. But yeah, what do you make of him as a bowler? How do you see his development going ahead?
I think Umran Malik has had a phenomenal season. The only concern for me regarding somebody like Umran Malik is whether he'll be able to keep his fitness, be at this pace, say in 5 years' time. It will be interesting to see if Umran Malik can sort of like have this pace going over the years. Say after 5 years, if he can have this pace, if he can bowl at this pace after 5 years, then I think that he has a very bright future. I think he has the right mentors. Uh, Getting mentored by Dale Steyn is a huge opportunity for any player, and he'll be relishing it. And he has come good for them, especially bowling in the middle overs. I think one facet where he can improve is his line and length. I think he has just relied on pace. There has been no change up of pace. I understand that if you are a bowler and if you know that you can bowl at over 150 kilometers per hour consistently, then you will obviously try to bowl more sort of 150, 155 kilometers per hour balls. But having said that, you need those changes of pace if you're coming into bowl in the final stages of the game, in the death overs, and you have to work on your line and length. I think that is where some of the teams have had a field day against him. And I think if you see his economy rate, I think it's over 8, definitely over 8, somewhere close to 9, if you ask me. Having picked up 22 wickets is a huge feat, but out of those 22 wickets, one might argue that 7, 8 of them have been of tailenders or lower order batsmen.
Yeah.
But take nothing away from the youngster. He has come in, bowled at great pace throughout this season, 14 games. I think he has been one of the bright lights for Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think one of the another contender for this emerging player was Abhishek Sharma, another player who has lit up the IPL for
But
Sunrisers Hyderabad.
do you reckon, just considering the impact and overall tournament at large, how do you see someone like a Tilak Verma as well?
Yeah, I
I know
think
his
Tilak
team did not
Verma.
do well. Same,
Yeah,
same the case with Umran Malik as well. But Tilak Verma, and also let's give credit to Mohsin Khan. Mohsin Khan, he did not start the tournament well at all. He was someone who came in late, like, who was inducted late because of Avesh Khan's injury. But all of a sudden they felt, oh my God, we've got another player now. Let's play all of them: Avesh Khan, Mohsin Khan, and Chamira. Or they had at times they went with Bishnoi. They went with the
they had
whole.
Holder.
They had their
They
options.
had
Lucknow
Holder
took a
not
nice.
bowling.
But let's speak about Mawson Khan, the player,
Yeah.
because he's another big prospect for them, isn't it?
I, I think both Mohsin Khan and even Avesh Khan was eligible for this emerging player award this
Yeah.
time around. I
I think
think both of them.
Avesh Khan should have got it last season. He
Yeah,
did not because
definitely.
Ruturaj Gaikwad was too good.
Yeah, Rituraj Gaikwad was too good. I think winning the orange cap as an emerging player is a huge deal. And I think having said that, Tilak Verma has had a brilliant game, brilliant
But
season. I think
people
Mumbai
talk about
Indians
Tilak
will.
Verma, the player, but I really don't. Okay, if you want to go just based on stats,
Yeah,
stats don't tell you a story. We have heard it often, and you know it better than anybody else. Well, stats tell you one side of the story, but stats don't tell you what really goes into it as well. Tilak Verma has played a lot of knocks where it did not do any good to the team. He played those 35, 40s, which did not have any impact on the overall result of the match. So if you
yeah.
have to just analyze on that particular front, I think Tilak Verma maybe is not the emerging player. But kudos to him. There is no doubting his talent. There's no doubting that he scored 400 runs in this IPL season. In your debut season, to score 400 runs is a big deal. And he's done
Yeah.
that with so much of
I
ease. And
think
that's
if
what
you
I feel.
just talk about the impact a player has made, I think then Mohsin Khan deserves it
Yeah.
rather than all the other players. Mohsin Khan has been spectacular. He came in at the halfway stage of the league stage. He came in, made such an impact that they could not drop him when Avish Khan was fit, and
Yeah.
he has been coming in and bowling maiden overs right at the top. Like it's been after so many years that I have seen a bowler coming in bowling consistently well right at the top through in all the games. Somebody like a Umesh Yadav this time around has been a huge positive for me. If you talk about from the Indian selection point of view, I think he has made a case that he can be a very good power play bowler. He just have to work on his death over bowling. I think with this age, somebody like Ishan Sharma called it quits, but to see the motivation, the thrive in Umesh Yadav coming in and bowling really well right at the top throughout this season has been good. Having said that, I think Mohsin Khan, Avesh Khan have been spectacular for Lucknow Super Giants, and I think the roles, especially the roles that have been assigned to them. Mohsin Khan came in, bowls 2 overs up front, and then he comes in at the death overs, and sometimes bowls 1 over at the middle overs as well. So I think his role is more diverse. He has to come in all the like stages of the game, and he delivers. He delivers for them at the top. He bowls really well, picks up wickets in the middle overs, and comes in at the death with those change of pace, bowling brilliantly. I think that is where Umran Malik can really work on and learn from Mohsin Khan, because even Mohsin Khan has come in at the top and bowled at 150 kilometers per hour right at the top. He has come in, bowled
Right.
at 150 kilometers per hour at proper line and length, has not considered any runs. And even in the later stages of the game, he comes in, bowl, uses those slower deliveries,
I see a
does not
huge
rely
future
just
in
on
him
pace.
as a bowler in all three formats of the game, let it be 2020 Test cricket and also One Day cricket, because he's got that variation as well of a slower ball when you compare him with an Umran Malik, because his variations are so effective. And you've seen that in that qualifier number, no, not qualifier, eliminator against Royal Challengers Bangalore. When you add batters going after other bowlers, he was so disciplined with his lines, and he was so compact with his game plan. That kind of role clarity for a bowler who's playing his first season, that is just commendable. And that's what I feel what just separates Umran Malik and Mawson Khan is that clarity and
Yeah.
just that thinking, the temperament to just go out there and do different things as well. But Umran Malik, he's a special talent. He's an X factor player. There's no comparison at all. India are so blessed to have bowlers of different classes coming in. You have an Arshdeep Singh, you have a Mohsin Khan, you have an Avesh Khan now, and who else? I mean, I'm just losing. You have a Yash Dayal. Let's give it to him as well. And when it comes to spin
Prasid
department, you have a
Krishna,
Sai Kishore who you can explore much about, because he's not just lit up the IPL now. He's a lead. I think he was a little bit late to the IPL. He should have been given a chance a couple of years ago when he actually lit up the domestic circuit. But then when you say, when opportunity comes, it just comes in abundance. And now he'll be remembered
I
for a
think
longer
even if
period
you
of time
talk
because he's
about
part of a
from the
championship
Test
squad.
cricket, yeah, I think even if you talk about from the Test cricket perspective, I think somebody like a Yash Dayal or Prasid Krishna already got a call up from for
I mean,
Team India.
Prasidh Krishna is already part of the Indian squad.
Yeah,
I think Prasidh Krishna in Test cricket will be one of the most beautiful bowlers to watch in
yeah.
terms of the
And I
lines.
think somebody like a Mohsin Khan and Yash Dayal will have a greater impact in Test cricket as well, because
Yeah,
they can swing the ball early on, they can bowl at good pace, they have that line and length, they are consistent bowling at a particular line and length. And obviously they can
absolutely.
come in and bowl those final overs, something that Anatrajan used to do for Team India.
I mean,
Go come in,
we were
bowl.
talking
Yeah,
about one season ago how we are not having left arm paces to go in and fill the roles. We are not finding those left arm paces because we're not finding the variety. We had one dimensional bowling attack with so many right arm bowlers. But right now you have them in abundance. You have a Khalil Ahmed who has
yeah,
remodeled himself and has come and bowled beautifully this IPL. So you have an Arshdeep Singh, you have a Mawson Khan, you have Yash Dayal. I don't know if you're missing out on any names as well. You have a Khalil Ahmed. So these names all of a sudden makes into a larger pool of bowlers who India can try out through the course of the next 3 years, because you have so many tournaments coming up. Let's not the T20 World Cup this year. I think the team for T20 World Cup is almost shortlisted. It's not going to be a lot of
yeah.
players who's going to come in with a lot of surprises as well. But if you talk about the 2023 World Cup, which will be played in India, if you talk about 2025 Champions Trophy, 2024 T20 World Cup, you have an ICC trophy every year. Alongside that, you have a Test Championship as well to play for. That's why I feel blooding in this youngster will be so essential for India to keep that pool secure at the same time, giving your senior pros a rest as well. And Mohammad Shami, I know he's not a junior bowler, but then him coming back into this IPL as a bowler, as a T20 bowler, bowling up front was just another sight to watch, isn't it?
I think Mohammad Shami has done a phenomenal job in IPL right from the time he was like given an opportunity in Punjab Kings. I think before that he was not making too much impact in IPL, but once Punjab Kings brought him in, and I think it was the 2018 or 19 season, he started coming in and picking up 19, 20 wickets in every season. I think he has
Yeah,
picked up 19, 20 wickets in 2019, 20, 21, 22. This has been the fourth or fifth year where he has consistently picked up 19, 20 wickets every season. I think that consistency is very hard to find, especially because now they have a job assigned for Mohammad Shami. You have to just Mohammad Shami comes in, bowls 3 of those overs in the power play. He's not really a death over bowler, So he'll just come in and bowl that one over in the middle overs, and
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
about it. But he has been giving that quality to the side, and I think, having said that, I think both Rajasthan Royals and Gujarat Titans, another facet where they have to work on is their death over bowling. Because yeah, frankly speaking, if with Lockie Ferguson coming back, and yes, they are sort of bowling well, they have done well in today's game. Gujarat Titans have done really well at the death in today's game, because Rajasthan did not have too many wickets. They did not have those batters right at the end. But we saw what the batsmen, if they get set against Gujarat Titans, what they can do in the qualifier one. Butler and Shimran Hetmeyer and Riyan Parag, whoever batsman came, I think they scored 60, 70 runs in the last 4 5 overs in the last game. So I think that death over bowling is somewhere Gujarat Titans have to work on a bit, because Mohammad Shami is not a death overs bowler.
Yeah,
Rashid Khan, not really a death over bowler.
yeah.
Sai Kishore, definitely not a death over bowler. Neither is Hardik Pandya. So there is just Yash Dayal, who is a youngster who is playing his first season.
I
Not too
think
much
one
experience.
position they would really want to explore is also that Lockie Ferguson Alzari Joseph's position of those
Yeah.
fastball, foreign fastballs. You always know that when a pacer has a very good season internationally, he tends to get that big IPL contract as well. So if they find one of those foreign pacers who might have done exceedingly well in the overseas circuit, they also have a Dominic Drakes who's done well in domestic circuit and CPL for even for West Indies. But if you can improve death over exploits as well, then you have another batting option plus a bowler. So that's another option they would really want to explore. But I don't think they should change much. You won an IPL with this bowling attack. Teams do fear your bowling attack, right? Teams do fear that how do we take this bowling attack on? Because you try to target Rashid, you cannot. You try to target Shami, he might pick you a couple of wickets. You cannot target a Lockie Ferguson up front as well. So that's why I feel this bowling attack is so much different when you compare with any other bowling attacks in the IPL, because they provide a lot more versatility with their bowling. You have a left arm pacer, you have a slow left arm bowler, you have a leg spinner, you have a tear away fast ball in Lockie Ferguson, you have a power play bowler, then you have an all rounder who chips in with Hardik Pandya as well, and Tewatia if needed. So as a versatile bowling attack, they've covered almost all the boxes. And as they say over the years, let me just repeat it loud and clear: batsmen win you games, and ballers win you championships. And that's it. I mean, that's my words. I've told at the start of the
Yeah.
IPL, ballers win you championships. That's exactly what happened.
Considering Rahul Tewatia as a bowler, right?
I mean, I do. I have seen some really good spells from Rahul Tewatia in the past. Maybe more than as a batter, I've seen him more as a bowler with Rajasthan Royals. It about reminds me of some of those games against Chennai Super Kings when he was handed over the ball, when he should run in and ball some beautiful spells, tight spells, keeping batters at check. So Rahul Tewatia can be used on surfaces with stones, and I believe they're going to play these games in Narendra Modi Stadium next year. I think Rahul Tewatia is going to be an asset to watch out for, asset to reckon with as well, because he is a versatile cricketer. He's not been explored much with his bowling skills, but as a batter, especially when it comes to chases, he's done an astounding job for Gujarat Titans, and he's played a vital part in handing over them that title. Maybe not in the final, of course, but through the journey. And I believe you shouldn't judge players on the final. It should be the journey what you should remember teams for. And if you remember the journey of Gujarat Titans, they've had players like Rahul Tewatia chip in major situations.
But having said that, I think they with Rahul Tewatia, if you consider him as a bowler, I think they have seven bowling options. So I'll still stick to the fact that they need to strengthen that batting order. Not probably not like right away, but once
Yeah.
in the next season, if you start off with a couple of losses, probably this middle order not firing that much, I think that is when they'll consider making a couple of changes. But right now, I think they'll be very happy. Let them enjoy the night. I think they have.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think we shouldn't analyze much because we've spoken enough of Gujarat Titans.
yeah.
We've criticized a lot before the auction. I mean, after the auction, right after the auction, before the season. But right now, they just proved all of us wrong, the world wrong. They had that belief. They had the belief system which ran through them. We spoke at the start of the live how much they believe in themselves and how much they proved all of us that having a team is so much more important than having few individuals to step in. And when you have the reliance on big individuals, you never win titles. You always need to have a team to win an IPL. And IPL has become so competitive that if you're going to rely on one or two individuals, you're going to be disappointed more often than not. And we've seen that with teams this season, past seasons, and this is a clear example why you need to have a team, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think this just shows that one or two players cannot win you the season. I think they'll be able to win you 2 or 3 games, or maybe 5 6 games. But definitely, when it comes to a total season, you need to win 60, like 10 of the 16, 17 games that you play, and you need to have a consistent
I think
season.
also,
I think
Sandeep, just
consistency
to
is the
add to
most
that,
important.
I made a statement, right? Ballers win you championships. When you invest in five good ballers, the more often than not delivers because you have 24 balls to really, really deliver. But when it comes to a batter, you're paying 16 crore, 15 crore on a batter, and four or five of them, they might disappoint you. That's exactly what happened in Punjab, for example. They spent a lot of money on their batter. When they came good, it all looked like, wow, Punjab is such an amazing team. But when they did not come good, you are like, oh my god, what is happening with this team? Is their approach good? And they'll go on to lose matches as well. So I always think, and I think this will be a strategy which will be adopted by many of the teams. We already saw in this season's IPL that teams have been very keen on investing heavily on bowlers. We've seen that with Royal Challengers Bangalore investing heavily on Harshal Patel and Maninder Suranga, with Rajasthan Royals with Prasidh Krishna and Trent Bolt, with Gujarat Titans on Rashid Khan and Mohammad Shami as well. I think that is going to be a trend which is going to be followed by every team in T20 cricket now, not just here. Have five proper bowlers and you will win more often than not, because it is not often you see bowlers of five, all five bowlers having a bad day. You'll have one of them having a bad day, maybe two at max, but three of them will have good days. If three of them has a good day, you go on to have it. You go on to restrict a team, or else you go on to win a match. But when it comes to batters, if you have a collapse, you lose a match.
I think it is a template that has been set this season. I think if you
Yeah,
think about Gujarat Titans, Rajasthan Royals, Lucknow Super Giants, and to some extent RCB, they have all those five bowlers who can give you 4 overs on any given day, and they also have that sixth and seventh bowling option. That when it comes to a day, not probably Rajasthan Royals, but they have those five bowlers who are doing the job for them consistently. If you have five
yeah,
bowlers who are doing the job for you consistently, you don't need that sixth or seventh bowling option. But just to be on the safer side, I'll be really happy to see if Rajasthan Royals gets in a good bowling all rounder or sort of a good all rounder in their camp who can come in at number six, number seven, fill in that role that Rian Parag was filling in quite well, not really well, but he had a quite season, sort of a okay season. He did not get too many opportunities, but whenever he got them, he sort of did well. He was excellent in the field, like always. He was excellent with the bat in occasions when he used to come in early, and he was okay. Like right at the end, he was not spectacular. He did not do too well right at the death, but it was okay, okay, sort of. He was an okay player if he's not bowling, but if he's not bowling, I think he's not adding that value that Rajasthan Royals probably missed tonight, because we could see that Ravichandran Ashwin was getting hammered for a lot of runs, got
yeah.
hammered for 15 runs, but they had to stick with somebody like Ashwin because they did not have uh,
I mean,
somebody
that's why
like
I
they
still
did not
think
trust.
Riyan Parag's position is still doubtful for me, and I'll still question it. I don't know what they see of him and what is the future of Riyan Parag as a batter in this team or as a finisher in this team.
See, I
But
can
they
make a
really
very
want to
critical
invest
call
on an
right
Indian
now.
all
I can
rounder.
I can do a very critical call right now. I can say that Devdutt Padikkal at number four is not a good fit. They should get
Yeah.
rid of him. Give him to a team who needs him. Like I think, for example, a KKR will really
I knew you would say that.
enjoy.
I really thought that you would say KKR would need him because
Yeah,
I've seen that with KKR as well. This season was just a horror show for them. But then I think Devdal Patikal needs to be given that room to play at number three also at times. But we have
yeah.
seen with Devdal Patikal, right? He's a kind of player who always needs an extra bit of time. And in the power play,
Yeah, so I
he
think
has a
the
better
best place
record
for
than in
him
the
is
middle over.
open the innings. I think Rajasthan Royals are not needing him to open the innings, and I think he's not a good fit at number four. So something
Right.
that they can look in the future is getting Rian Parag in at number four. Number five, there is Shimran Hetmeyer, and get that a good all rounder in at number six, a good Indian all rounder, foreign all rounder. Try somebody like a Jimmy Nisham, give him a long run with the bat. I think he'll do well.
I mean, you're absolutely right because Simon Durr as a commentator has gone on to be so vocal about Riyan Parag's position in this team. But as a fielder, there's no doubt. But I think he can be used as an Anukul Roy then. Just put him in the field as a 12th man, get those blinders on, and be happy. But as a batter, you've seen him with Assam. He bats a number four, number three for them. You've seen him more often than not walking in at situations where team is in trouble and he really saves them. And he's shown that temperament even with Rajasthan Royals. I remember the match against Royal Challengers Bangalore where the team was in serious trouble, where the team was five down. He walked and he scored that brilliant 50, took them home that match as well. So Riyan Parag as a batter, I see him bat a little more higher up in the order because he's got that ammunition to really take the team home, have that build up kind of innings, then finish off on a high. But as a batter, to go from ball one, you don't really expect out of him, because he's not an MS Dhoni. And we saw that with, even with Ayush Badoni, right? Ayush Badoni was celebrated initially as a player, because when he came into bat, everybody was like, oh wow, we found a finisher. But then he failed a couple of times, and all the eyes were on him, all the critics started being high upon him, and even Lucknow Super Giants did not trust him as a player, and which actually led to their downfall in the end, if you look back at it. And that's why I feel Riyan Parag also, as a batter, should be given the leverage of batting up in the top order, because you have used enough of batters like Devdutt Padikkal out of position. You've used even at times Yashasvi Jaiswal out of position. So I really want to see Riyan Parag back number four, nothing lower than that, because it's just unfair on that player as well. It's just unfair on the talent he possesses as a batsman if you don't try him at number four, because uh, if you look at Riyan Parag's just record as a bowler as well, you can use him as a sixth bowling option if you give him that confidence. Once he starts scoring runs, I believe that confidence will naturally spread onto his bowling as well, which will enable him to be that sixth bowling option. Other than that, I feel they've got that complete unit, a flexible unit. A batters can bat anywhere in the batting order. Rajasthan Royals will have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, definitely. Having said that, I think some of the batsmen that bowled really well this season, I think you have to mention somebody like a Glenn Maxwell. I think he has done a tremendous job for RCB with the ball. Whenever Fab du Plessis has felt the need that they need a six bowling option, even though they have somebody like a Shahbaz Ahmed and Mahipal Lomror who are no jokes with the ball. But they still went with somebody like a Glenn Maxwell because they know that Maxwell has very good matchup against left-handers right at the top in the power play. Whenever somebody like a Lucknow Super Giants came up, somebody like a Quinton de Kock opening, a left-hander batter opening, I think we have seen Glenn Maxwell coming into bowl, and he has done a spectacular job. Not just at the top, I think in the middle overs as well. He has come in. He has not given away runs easily. So I think RCB would have sort of not been very happy with what he has done with the bat this season, because
Yeah,
he was super with the bat last time around. He was averaging
yeah.
somewhere close to 45. This time around it has come down to 27, 28, I think. But with
I
the
mean,
ball he has been
but
spectacular.
as a batter as well, RCB wanted him to play a different kind of a knock compared to last season. Last season, he was more of a batter who used to anchor, but in the end, he used to lift off. But this time around, they wanted him to be that aggressor, that player who goes in and changes the momentum of the game. And you saw that even in that game against Rajasthan Royals, because he was sent out to bat in a particular dimension, which was to bat one dimensionally, take on the bowlers, just tear them apart, create the momentum for us to finish off on a high. Because Dinesh Karthik finishes off things more often than not, but it did not come off in the most actual way they wanted it to have, because he had a season which people might remember him for those good 13 runs, one of the 50s where he scored here and there. Even in that Rajasthan Royals game, I thought he was slightly mature with that shot selection, because when there was a fine leg fielder kept there on the deep just for that shot to be played, he fell into the trap. That's why I feel he should have been more mature like the last season. Last season he had more head on his shoulders, I felt, but this time he was not. You would learn from that. You learn from this camping. You'll go
But
back.
I think that is just Glenn Maxwell being Glenn Maxwell.
Yeah,
If you take away, it's like asking Butler to play the anchor's role. So we all know that Butler is at his best when he's playing his natural game, the aggressive one. Same is the case with Glenn Maxwell. I think if you ask him to play that sort of anchor's role, I think on a given day when he sort of realizes that yes, I need to play that anchor's role, and he really grinds in, that is when Glenn Maxwell can play that anchor's role. But otherwise, I really feel that that is just his game, that dimensional game. That is what Glenn Maxwell cherishes, and I think he really enjoys that, to come in, just go for those big hits. But I think this time around they should have been a bit cautious with how to use Maxwell, because RCB had too many collapses for their liking. They had
yeah,
too many top order collapses for their liking. They lost 4 5 wickets in too many of those games. I think 6 7 of those games they were struggling at 60 70 for four. Not so much in the later half of the tournament. Thanks to Rajat Patidhar, I think
yeah.
he had done a terrible, not just what am I saying? He had done an brilliant job. He had
you
done
just,
an
you just, you
excellent
just
job.
threw some hate on him for no reason.
No, I'm really sorry, but I think he had done an excellent job right till the league stage. If you just consider till the league stage, and in the
Yeah.
playoffs, he has just been far
You know,
above the rest.
as we are towards the end of the season, let's talk about the best knock of the IPL. Let's just talk about the best knock of the IPL, the best bowling spell of the IPL, and the best player of the IPL. Let's put those taglines so that even we have got a great live watching today. We had close to 50 people live watching at one time. So this was our highest, and it means a lot that you have all turned up in huge number with us. So let's ask from the people as well who have come, who are right now on live. Please do comment who has been the best player of the IPL according to you, so that we'll have an
Yeah,
interactive session. We'll pick up
let's
your
see some
point. So
suggestions,
guys,
right?
drop a comment right now who has been the best player of this season's IPL. Whoever is live watching right now, drop a comment. We'll take that up. In my opinion, the best player of the IPL, Hardik Pandya, hands down.
Yeah, see, I'll have to agree with you because not just batting and bowling, but also captaincy. If you look at like if you combine all the things, I think Hardik Pandya has been superb in all the like spheres of the game. He was not bowling in the middle few games. He did not bowl because he told us that the team is doing well. There is no real need for me to come in and bowl. So I think he was really clever preserving his energy for the last, and I think what a tremendous job he did in the qualifiers as well as in the finals. I think he has a
Absolutely.
very good record against Rajasthan Royals. I think even before the game, we were mentioning that he averages around 24 with the ball and over 100 with the bat. He has been dismissed only thrice in 10 innings with the bat. So this was the fourth time that he got dismissed, but he again picked up three more wickets. So makes him more credible. I think Hardik Pandya has had one of the best seasons.
Guys who are watching us live, I want you to comment right now on the chat box that who has been the best player of the season's IPL. We did pick up Hardik Pandya as the best player from Boomer 11, but I really want your opinion as well as to who is the best player, because let's create a debate. Let's spark a small debate here as to who has been the phenomenal, who has been that prominent player who has changed, because I know we have 61 live watching at this very point, and I want you all to comment on it. Sandipani, coming to you, let's talk about one player who has really impressed you with the ball. Uh, One player who has been phenomenal with the ball, right? With the ball, we have seen Umran Malik, we did speak on Mohsin Khan, but for me, it has to be Vanindu Hasranga.
Yeah, like even after the first game where he was taken apart by Rajapaksha, we were like I was a bit critical about Vanindu Hasaranga because I definitely thought that he was sort of playing like a Liam Livingston. He was doing really well in the international circuit. He was doing
Guys, if you
really
haven't
well.
watched that video, go down on the video list and check the preview of Punjab versus, if I don't remember, it was RCB versus Kolkata Knight Riders, where
Yeah.
we had the debate. So he said Vanindu Hasranga is the Liam Livingston of IPL. Then he said Liam Livingston is the Vanindu Hasranga of IPL. He has been
But which is
proven wrong,
true. Both
absolutely.
of which are true because Liam Livingston had a tremendous season as well. If you consider Liam Livingston, he was superb with
The
both the
context
bat
was
and ball,
totally
and
different.
same
He's
is the case with
misguiding you
Vanindu.
people. At this very point, he's misguiding you people. He had it in a negative context. But then, okay, let's talk about Liam Livingston. For me, he has been the X factor player of the tournament.
Definitely. I think Rajasthan Royals, the only thing that they'll be kicking right now, like for dropping somebody, that will be Liam Livingston. Because
Yeah,
I think he was not really well utilized by Rajasthan Royals. He was asked to open in some of the games. He was asked to come in at number three in some of the games. But I think the best role for Liam Livingston is at number four or number five, depending on the game situation. He's a player like Glenn Maxwell. He's that X factor player for you. He'll come in,
yeah.
he'll go after the bowling no matter what the match situation is, what the required rate is. He'll just come in, he'll just try to take the attack on the bowlers. And another thing for me has been his bowling. I think he has done a brilliant job with the ball as well. We have seen that whenever he's bowling to left-handers, he has tried out some of those off breaks, and whenever he's bowling to the right-handers, he has bowled his regular stock leg spin deliveries. So I think that is very clever for him. Do not allow the batsman to just go with the spin and take him for runs. And I think he has done a tremendous job all in all.
Absolutely. Guys, I really want you to comment right now as to who has been your X Factor player of this tournament, because we have seen so many players in this tournament, which we can say Vanindu Hasranga was an X Factor player. Shimran Hetmar has been X Factor player. Let's talk, for
Andrew
me,
Russell.
another player who really impressed me, from the point of view has been Arshdeep Singh. He's been an X Factor player in a different way altogether, because Arshdeep Singh as a bowler, he has been so phenomenal, because you had that bank of those 4 overs or those 2 overs towards the death, where he used to run in and ball and consider just 4 runs per over. So he has to be one of the X factor players of the tournament as well.
I think not just the X Factor player. I think he has been one of the best death bowlers this season. I think if you consider all the other bowlers that have come in and bowl at the death, I think he has been given the responsibility of bowling all those very important and tricky overs where you can go for plenty of runs. But he has done a spectacular job. Economy rate of somewhere close to 8. I think he has been very unlucky with that wickets column. I think he deserves way more wickets than he has picked this season. He has been one of the best death over bowlers. Have come good for Punjab Kings. Like I think Arshdeep Singh and Liam Livingston, along with somebody like a Shikhar Dhawan, has been the three players that have been exemplar, like have done exemplary work for Punjab Kings this season. Uh,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think they have just been brilliant. But
Guys, we have
it was just
100 people live watching right now. So, guys, I request you to really, comment down as to who has been one player who has really, really impressed you most in this season. Because we talk about some players like Liam Livingston, we talk about Hardik Pandya, but who, in your opinion, has really, really turned it around for you in your team?
And I think also credit should go to somebody like a Andrew Russell. Andrew Russell, even though Kolkata did not have the best of seasons, but Andrew Russell with the bat averaged over 30, 35, with a strike rate of over 180, with the ball picked
Yeah.
up 17, 18 wickets, has been brilliant for KKR, especially considering the fact that he has not bowled his quota of 4 overs this season, like in all those games.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Butler, we've got Kuldeep Singh, Kuldeep Yadav. I mean, Kuldeep
Yeah,
Sen was one of the impressive bowlers. I think he's got
yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah.
season
Both
as
the
well.
Kuldeeps have been brilliant,
Both the
but
Kuldeeps have been
Kuldeep
having an
Yadav.
outstanding season. Guys, with 110 people watching, I really want you to really comment right now. How would you rate Butler's season? Is he your MVP of the tournament? Is Hardik Pandya the MVP of the tournament? I really want you to comment on the chat right now. But for me, another player who's been so impressive has been Kuldeep Yadav. It's been redemption for Kuldeep Yadav, the bowler. I'll have to give to Rishabh Pant because we've had enough of criticism for Rishabh Pant as a captain. Through our live streams, we often say Rishabh Pant as a captain has been so subpar. But as a player, I feel, as a player, he's been given so much of confidence after having a couple of really mediocre seasons. When it come to Indian team, he has been axed from all the positions, but right now he's making a comeback in all three formats, is what I believe. And Kuldeep Yadav, the bowler, he looks so much more confident. He's been looking like a bowler who wants to go out there and pick up wickets, isn't it?
I think you have to give a lot of credit to somebody like Ricky Ponting, Shane Watson for having the confidence in him, for having the confidence in Kuldeep Yadav. Because to be very honest, KKR had not given Kuldeep Yadav enough opportunities once Varun Chakravarti came into the side. I think he just played 2 or 3 games in 2020 and did not get any game in 2021. So coming back and picking up 20 to 21 wickets in a side where you are not given those 4 overs. If you talk about Kuldeep Yadav, I think Rishabh Pant, again, we can criticize him a bit about the fact that he was not allowed to bowl those 4 overs in most of the games. Rishabh Pant held him back. He gave uh, that sixth bowling option somebody like a Lalit Yadav, Mitchell Marsh to bowl their quota of 3 4 overs and held 1 or 2 overs from Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel, and I think that has been one of the many reasons for Delhi Capitals' downfall this season. But also to show the trust in him, to have that kind of faith in him, to back him after that injury that Kuldeep Yadav sustained in the last season is brilliant from the management, brilliant from Kuldeep Yadav to have that confidence. I think he has been a bit quicker in the air this time around. We used to see Kuldeep Yadav bowling in like bowling at 75 kilometers per hour, 80 kilometers per hour mark, which he has taken up to something like 85 to 90 kilometers per hour. That
Yeah.
bowling speed, and I think that has made a big impact in the game because we always knew that Kuldeep Yadav can turn the ball like a square mile. But the only problem was his pace. The batsman had enough time to pick him and go for the shots. But this time around, he has been quicker in the air. He has sort of defeated a lot of batsmen in the air itself. So I think a brilliant season for Kuldeep Yadav. Lots of positives to take to the next season, and definitely
Yeah.
in the reckoning for teams like in for the Indian team selection in all the three formats.
Guys who all have joined us, I really want you to subscribe our channel because we have 120 live watching on this very point, and I really want you to subscribe to our channel so that we can motivate you with more of these videos. I know IPL is over. It was long 65 plus days with you people, and we totally enjoyed it. We enjoyed every single day coming live with you people, interacting with you people, making a lot of connections with you people. So I want you to subscribe to us so that you don't miss out on any of the action what we provide, because this is just the end of one tournament, because this season is big. We have football World Cup, we have bilateral series, we have another T20 World Cup, Asia Cup. We're going to be there for every competition with you people. And not just that, we'll be coming live almost every day providing something for you guys. So do not forget on any of these things. So
See,
subscribe to
65
the
days of
button
tournament
right now and
finally
click
had
the
a
bell
good
icon.
finale, right? 65 days of streaming and we finally had a good finale with over 100 watching. So
I mean,
definitely a success.
absolutely. It is just, I really, it was a pinnacle. I mean, I mean, I have to give credit to all of these people who have joined us. It's been like a family for us. We have had some comments who come every day. Some people like if I have to name, I remember Saini Gupto. She's been with us almost every day.
Michael
Someone like
Andrew,
Shruti Sriram. Some people who I remember right now from the daily comments. So these people have been, one of our loyal watchers. But I want you all to be loyal watchers with us, and who watch us through the period of long time with us, because we are able to provide you with some action and because of all your support. But having said that, let's talk about one player who has disappointed all of us. uh, we've spoken about all the good things, but for me it has to be Virat Kohli. I know it's been, he's got that out of form things going around him. He's got a lot of things around him as a player. He did not have the best of times as an Indian player as well, because he's not going through the best of phases after the captaincy scandal or captaincy conundrum with Saurav Ganguly, with the BCCI, then coming back into IPL. He had a point to prove. He tried his best, but Virat Kohli had a very mediocre season, isn't it?
yeah, definitely Virat Kohli had a very mediocre season, and I think equally bad season, if not better, was this guy who just Devjit mentioned in comments. Rohit Sharma had a horrible season, both as a batter and as a captain. I think, to be fair to him, Mumbai Indians did not look like a uh, good franchise to start off. Like in the first 7 8 games, they just looked a team completely out of shape. They did not have any bowling depth. They were not being able to finish off games which somebody like a Mumbai Indians are expected to finish off even in their sleep. I think the loss of the all-rounder, somebody like a Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya, cost them. And I might as even call it that Kyron Pollard has been another player who has been a disappointment for me this season, because they retained Kyron Pollard. They had Mumbai Indians showed a lot of faith in Kyron Pollard. They chose him over Hardik Pandya, and I think Hardik Pandya is laughing right now. He has replied to his
I mean,
critics
I
on
don't
his
think he
form of
has to prove
management.
anything to Mumbai Indians, right? He has
No,
won it. I
definitely, he
think
did
he'll be
not have anything
remembered
to
as in
prove
the
to
legacy
anyone.
of Gujarat Titans. One of the things which we pulled up in the Kylian Mbappe's, the thing as well, where you can either be a part of a rich history of players who were already part of it, you'll be one among them. But if you create for your own self in a new place, people remember you forever to be that first one. Why do people remember Shane Warne? Because he was the player who took them to the final. He was the first Royal. He won them their only cup. But if you look at Mumbai Indians, you have a lot of players. You have over the years, you have Malinga, you have Pollard, you have Rohit Sharma. He'll be one among them. But today, if you look back at Gujarat's success, you will remember Hardik Pandya, the player.
But then, if
So it is in your
Hardik
hands.
Pandya would
You
have
get
been
creative
retained
with the
by
new
Mumbai
team.
Indians, he wouldn't
Yeah,
have had this opportunity to represent Gujarat Titans. So, as the ball was not in Hardik Pandya's court, the ball was in Mumbai Indians' court, and I think they just dropped it. They went with Kyron Pollard, and Hardik Pandya, rightly so, got the opportunity to captain a new side with brilliant management like Ashish Nehra and Gary Kirsten, Vikram Solanki. So I think all in all, it was a very happy result for both the Pandya brothers. Even Lucknow Super Giants had a good run, so Krunal Pandya will be happy as well.
yeah.
But all in all, Mumbai Indians, I think Kyron Pollard was a disappointment, Rohit Sharma was a disappointment, Virat Kohli was a disappointment, and also if you ask me, Rituraj Gaikwad to some extent was a disappointment, barring that 99. I think
Yeah.
he was too a disappointment.
Absolutely. I
And
mean,
Venkatesh Iyer. I
I
mean,
mean,
Venkatesh Iyer
I
just
think
lost his
Venkatesh Iyer has
spot.
been unfairly criticized because I don't rate him in the bracket of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and many other players. Venkatesh Iyer has been just a one season wonder for me. I know it's too harsh of a comment for that particular
No, but
player.
you just can't call somebody who has played for Team India and
I
done
mean,
well
see,
for Team India
why did
one
he
season
play for
wonder.
Team India is a question, right? He
Yeah,
played for Team India
definitely.
because You did not have an Hardik Pandya bowling out there. You had Hardik Pandya, who was heavily criticized right after the T20 World Cup. All the axes were on him to say that he should be ousted from the team and he should not even get a chance back in the Indian team. Considering all the scenario, the kind of comeback Hardik Pandya has made, man, if I have a hat, I'll just take it off because
I
that's
think
how good he
another
has been.
factor that Hardik Pandya has done really well is sort of maintained his composure throughout the tournament. He has
Yeah,
looked really calm, which is not something that you attribute with Hardik Pandya, someone like a Hardik Pandya. He has been very expressive on the field throughout for Mumbai Indians. Whenever he played for Mumbai Indians, he had been very aggressive, very expressive. You don't expect somebody like that to have such a calm demeanor while captaining a side. That is
yeah.
something new which we got to see from Hardik Pandya for Gujarat Titans, and it just shows that this sort of fits in very well for him as well. I think even for that national call up thing, because Hardik Pandya now, if you think about it, Hardik Pandya has sort of cemented his place. I think it's fair to say that Hardik Pandya has cemented his place for the World T20s, if not beyond, certainly. So I
I
don't
mean,
see
you
Vikram
have to say
Sayyar.
that he is going to be even a captaincy contender for the future. Right now, we are seeing something special of him, and with the kind of skills he has shown in the captaincy department, he's going to be one to reckon with because we are looking at who's going to be captaining India after Rohit Sharma, right? We have our doubts on Rishabh Pant, we have our doubts on KL Rahul, the captain, but here is a captain who just won the IPL and won the IPL with so much of ease with a team who did not
I think now
look so good on the
India, the
paper.
young India has a lot of young candidates for the captaincy role, for the leadership role. Somebody like a Shreyas Iyer coming up the
Yeah,
ranks. We have seen he has sort of cemented his place in the Test side as well. If you ask me that Rahane's slot that was available, I think Shreyas Iyer has taken it rightfully, and I
right,
don't think even if Cheteshwar Pujara gets a game in that Test series, if he gets to play at number three, I think the only player that will be dropped is Hanuma Vihari. Very unfortunate for him, but I think that is the player who will be dropped because Shreyas Iyer is that X factor player for you who has been in great form, who can win you games single handedly. So I think
right.
he'll get the nod ahead of somebody like a Hanuma Vihari. So a
Absolutely,
lot of
guys. You
leadership
all have
candidates.
joined us once again. I request you to subscribe to our channel because it's a great occasion, and we'll be with you almost every day with the live streams as well. So subscribe to it because there'll be some exciting podcasts, fantasy predictions, everything which we'll be providing through the course of this beautiful sports season, which is lined up ahead of us till the end of the year, until the end of the Football World Cup in December. We're going to be with you every single day. So you have to subscribe to our channel, and we're going to be taking you on an exciting ride of sports and all of action alongside with that. Yes, anybody, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it because yeah, we have
Yeah.
been speaking for 1 hour 30 minutes now almost.
I mean, yeah, I've been speaking for 1 hour 30 minutes, and it just feels so short. I mean, we didn't even know the time went so fast because we are also joined by a lot of people, and that really motivates us to keep going. And thank you everybody for joining us. We'll
Yeah.
call it a day now. Finally, I know it's way past bedtime for many of us. Tomorrow is a working day as well. Gujarat Titans entertain so many of us in the IPL. As Sandipani is already wearing the jersey, I don't think he's a Gujarat Titans fan, but then he's wearing it just to show that glory hunter tendency in him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to show my support for the team. They sort of deserve a lot of
I really wanted to wear the
celebration.
RCB jersey today to show that how much I love. See, guys, this Sala not Cup Num Day, but next Sala Cup Num Day.
Yeah, this will be the motto for RCB, I think, going
Yeah, next
in
IPL, I'm coming back with the new RCB jersey.
and I'll
This
be coming
RCB
back
does
with a
not
new
work
KKR
luck for me.
jersey and hope for the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. KKR will end up in the bottom of the table. RCB will qualify as consistent as ever
We will
into the
see that.
playoffs.
No place
Sandeep
for
Bani
trash
will be
talking
talking.
here.
Guys, it was a beautiful time covering IPL with you all. I know we made a lot of connections this IPL. Let it be Twitter Spaces, let it be YouTube, let it be whatever social media platform. So, guys, do follow us on every social media platform because the links are right on the bio. Because on Twitter we'll be doing Spaces with Jones, Crick Crazy Nicks, and many more people. On YouTube we'll be having Sandeep Bani, Anahat, Abhishek, Parth, everybody to talk about it through the course of this long sporting journey. And we'll also have some special podcasts coming with some of the biggest YouTubers in the country as well who speak on football with the likes of Adidev Guruji, with the likes of Ankit, Almighty Blues FC. So there's some exciting things waiting for you guys and some exciting podcasts as well. So do not miss out on that. So you have to click the bell icon and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the content what we provide. Have a good night, all of you, and do remember the fantasy gaming does not stop here. So click on the link in the bio, download the app right now with Boomer 11, and play the fantasy contest for absolute free of cost, because you will have zero losses and you can win only unlimited prizes, because we are going to be providing some exciting contests for you. There will be the Arab League, there will be the bilateral series. England, New Zealand test is starting in 3 days. So get ready for that. We'll be coming for that as well. We'll be analyzing how is Ben Stokes' army doing against New Zealand. Oh, I don't know why am I laughing, because it's going. Brendan McCullum was in New Zealand, so very interesting to
Yeah.
watch that.
But again, thanks everyone for joining in, for staying throughout this course of IPL. I have had a blast. Thanks for giving me this opportunity, and I think there's plenty more to come. So stay tuned, and yeah,
Salman, you
have
have
a
a
good
lot of
night.
fans. I think you should thank them because they've joined us. They've been very consistent with us, and yeah, love for you all of you guys. From our side, it's not the end. It's I'm just sad that IPL has come to an end. Summer of
Yeah,
22 is
definitely.
all
A
about
2 months
IPL.
journey is finally coming to an end. It'll be. It
I
has
mean, I'm
sort
emotional
of
at
been
this
my
very
routine
point.
now.
I'm very emotional at this very point because last 60 days was so amazing. It was
Yeah,
just amazing because um, the reason of all of it was IPL, and we were joined by so many people like you all to talk about the game, to know more about the game. As a cricket analyst, I feel I've learned a lot of things from you all, your perspective. Let it be on the Twitter space. I was able to learn a lot of new points. I was able to make a lot of connections. We were able to make a lot of connections. There were some heartbreaks. There were definitely some great memories. Summer of 22 comes to an end. Now it's the monsoon and the cricket season of Indian team. Yes, the blue. I'm buying a new Indian jersey, man. You should buy a new Indian jersey as well. We'll be back with Boom
definitely.
11. And thank you all. Have a good time. Have a good night. And be with us always.
Yeah.